Good morning. Well, not morning. Good afternoon. This is Sandra from Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center. Every month, we do a lunch and learn to kind of share resources and information about different topics that pertain to victims' rights. And this year is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we've done different episodes on what was the one that we did? Domestic violence and um, civil and criminal filings. That's the first one that we did. We also did last year, we did the emergency protective orders and the differences in those. And then this year, we're going to do victims and witness resources. If some of those other topics of interest to you, please check out our YouTube or our Facebook. You can find those recorded there. And then if you find something of interest, please definitely share because you never know who you're helping. With us today is our Deputy Director at Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center, Joanna Mupanduki, and the Director of the Prince George's County Family Justice Center, Dr. Denise McCain. So thank you guys for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and do like a quick round robin, and then we'll hop into the topics. So just a quick introduction of who you are and what you do.
Go ahead and start, Denise.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Denise McCain. I am the director here at the Prince George's County Family Justice Center. We are an initiative of the Circuit Court. We were established in 2016 as a one-stop shop resource for survivors of domestic violence, but also sexual assault, human trafficking, as well as elder abuse. We provide a comprehensive array of services with the support of 23 organizations, both governmental and nonprofit, that are all co-located in this one facility.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
And hello, I'm Joanna Mupanduki, and I'm the Deputy Director here at Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center. And so just a little bit about the Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center. So we were started by Vince and Roberta Roper after their daughter, Stephanie Roper, was murdered in 1982, and after their very difficult experience with the criminal justice system, where they were very much kept out of the loop and not aware of what was happening in court, not being told about offers that were being made to the defendants, what was going on really in court, not being able to see the trial, not being able to give a victim impact statement, all of that type of thing. And so they really became advocates on behalf of crime victims. And then after starting that process, they were able to pass over 100 different pieces of legislation, the biggest piece being the Crime Victims Rights Act, which was part of the Maryland Constitution, Article 47, that was passed in 1994. And so that was 30 years ago. And so that gave a lot of rights to victims. And so now victims have the right to be notified of all everything that occurs in court, every court date, every offer that's made to a defendant. They have a right to give a victim impact statement for every level of crime that impacts a victim. So really a huge step. So now Maryland Crime Victims actually represents crime victims. We have both attorneys and victim advocates who will attend court with victims. We have attorneys who will do motions, bring motions when victims' rights are not being upheld, and make those arguments in front of a judge to make sure that victims are being supported and they are being heard in court. And so that's what we do. And so we're really happy and grateful that Dr. McCain can be here today and let us know more about what Prince George's County Family Justice Center does. And then we'll talk a little bit more also at the end about what Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center just does, and so how we can help crime victims all over the state. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have Dr. McCain here with the Family Justice Center because they are one of our partners. And Dr. McCain was talking about the organizations that are co-located there, and we actually do have someone that sits over there, and I think that that's such a resource. So let's just back up. Let's start from the beginning. Where is the Family Justice Center, and are there similar centers like this in other counties?
Sure. So we are located on Main Street here in Upper Marlboro, directly behind the Circuit Court. So again, with sort of that extension, we even have a purple walkway from the courthouse directly to the Family Justice Center to show the connectivity and the relationship that we have to the court. There are, to the point of others, there are two other family justice centers in the state of Maryland. The first was Harford County. That one actually operates under the authority of sort of a combination of the sheriff and the state's attorney combined resources to establish the Family Justice Center in Harford County. Then there's the Family Justice Center in Montgomery County, which operates under the authority of the sheriff's office. And of course, Family Justice Center here in Prince George's County, which I'm going to say is by far the best. We're all very different. We operate under the same model, being that it's a co-location of services, the goal being to make the process more efficient, more holistic, more client-centered. As Joanna pointed out, victims as well as secondary victims are not always given the opportunity to be treated fairly and or to even have access to information, even with rights that are currently in place. And it can be a very daunting and intimidating process for anyone. So the goal was really to really streamline that process and to make it more efficient and client-centered. Now, rather than having to go to 4, 5, 6 different places to get help, can come to one location, and moreover, only have to tell that story one time, because what we know is that every time you have to tell someone, which is the first thing they're going to ask you, how can I help you? What's going on? They have to start repeating the horrific details of what happened to them, which can be traumatizing, re-victimizing. So we are set up so that you speak to an intake specialist one time, that information is then conveyed to the appropriate partners with the client's permission and consent. So again, it's sort of that one-stop shop wraparound services, which is the goal and the model of the Family Justice Center. And we all have that same model.
That's so fantastic. And I think that, part of us doing these lunch and learns has really been, trying to make sure that people at home, regardless of what county they're in, kind of know some of the basics of victims' rights, because, you don't know about it until it's too late. You don't know what your rights are until you're just deep in it already. And at that point, your emotions are on overdrive. Something has happened to you where you've been victimized. And, there's a lot of emotions that go with that. And so, what's really great about the lunch and learns is that, they're kind of recorded. And so you can kind of grab them at any time, just by a quick search. And, really breaking down information, I think is so important before people come in. But what a great program to have. So like you said, the system isn't re-victimizing people who are trying to get information. So fantastic. And thanks for joining us, Karen.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone.
Good. Yep. Good afternoon. I think we're going to mess that up the whole time, but that's okay. So Karen is from the Safe at Home Address Confidentiality Program. We're going to just kind of flip flop. So we're going to kind of go through, but Karen, you can join us at any time if you want to add to conversation, and then we'll highlight the program that you are from here shortly.
Sure.
But thanks for joining us. So you were saying, Dr. McCain, that there's one in Harford, Montgomery, Prince George's.
Yes.
Right. Family Justice Centers, where there are like these one-stop shops. And those are the only counties that you know of that have those.
Correct. And they are now the only ones in the state of Maryland. Across the country, there are over probably 150 across the country. Even internationally, there are about 15 or 16 in other countries as well. So this is a movement that has really spread, and for obvious reasons. It's just really more efficient and just makes things a lot easier for people that need help, and really avoiding a lot of the hassles that sometimes come with this.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I mean, we're definitely lucky to have you guys in Prince George's County. We have a lot of of cases in Prince George's County. I definitely wish that there were more. I mean, but the same holds true for our type of organization. They're not in every state. You know, what we do for victims and making sure that their rights are instilled is not in every state. And yeah, that's really sad for me. And I think for most of us that are in this field, you know, it's so unfortunate. And we definitely count blessings when it comes to having resources that are available to us, particularly when the need arises.
Absolutely.
What can you do for those that are part of domestic violence is really, you know, trying to leave, trying to create a escape plan, having strategizing, almost like strategizing your next steps. And part of that is shelter. What are there resources that you guys have available for sheltering?
Absolutely. And that is probably one of the most highly requested, that as well as mental health services, which, as you can imagine right now, very high requests or demand for those resources. But yes, we have one of the partners that's here is Community Services, Community Services Inc., Community Crisis Services Inc., CCSI is what I usually refer to it as. So the full name, I lost that for a minute. But they are the comprehensive domestic violence agency and shelter, emergency shelter here in Prince George's County. So we do have a representative from that organization here on site. And of course, again, if someone comes in, you know, they go through the intake, it's unsafe for them to go back home, they have nowhere to go, it is an emergent situation, then they would be an ideal candidate for the shelter. Shelters also have their own intake process. So again, imagine we don't want that person to now, after coming here, going through, you know, everything that happened through our intake to now have to go through it again. We're able to send that information over to our partner here, and we've done a pre-screening for them. We know what their criteria is. We would tell the person beforehand if they even met the criteria, and would then be able to do a warm handoff for the shelter, and they would pick it up from there. Sometimes that partner, if that partner agency isn't here, we still have the ability to do that over the phone, and we will make arrangements for transportation. That's the other great thing about our Family Justice Center is that we have our own van as well as a dedicated driver. So we're always able to take clients to the shelter, to other courts, or wherever they need to be here in the county.
That's fantastic. That's definitely
And I will
transformational.
also add, when we talk about housing, sometimes it's not, it may be that you're not eligible for a shelter, and that you're not in immediate or imminent danger, or the victim may just need a few days out of the home to process and decide where they're going next. We have several partners that make hotel stays available. So we're able to also offer that resource. Again, it's not long-term, but it does fill a short-term need for housing, if you will, temporary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you touched on it a second ago, and then I've got a question in our chat. You touched on mental health. Do you guys provide counseling? And in the chat do you have a support group for domestic violence clients or type of program to help them?
Yes, to both. We are, again, we have a contract with a mental health group that we have, we're able to offer those services, mental health services for survivors. The interesting thing is that we do a screening here. It's a depression screening. And depending upon the score, that client would automatically be referred to a counselor because we're recognizing that mental health services are needed. So we're fortunate to be able to provide that resource. And as I said, it has become very, very demanding. We're seeing more and more clients that either requested and or are screening into the resource. With regard to support groups, yes, we do. We have a program called Stay in Touch. SIT is what we call it. It is a ongoing, it's supposed to be a 14-week, it's an open-ended, well, it's a closed-ended, but it's you can come in at any time. It's a 14-week support group, all survivors, facilitated by Dr. D from the hospital, from the University of Maryland, and one of our intake special, actually she's with the sheriff's office, Ms. Bobby Harvard. They meet every week. And I can tell you that these women have been coming here for years because they won't leave each other. They have become their system within their system, and they're like a family, and they love it. And we're just very grateful that we're able to offer that resource. So yes, we do have the support group for survivors.
We definitely have a similar support group where
Yeah.
they just enjoy each other so much, and are always welcoming new people, and just kind of stay that way.
Yeah.
And those services are in-house or those external?
All in-house.
Okay.
Everything is here and everything is free of charge. And I think that's really key. Legal services, counseling services, everything that we provide and offer, all free of charge.
Lovely. That's my favorite part.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's like music. It's always great where you don't have to like income qualify. And I think that's the really hard part for a lot of like victim movement and empowerment has to do with like, income qualifying for things. So that's always, it's always great to hear. And so let's kind of get into the creation of safety plans, leaving, and all that good stuff. Do you guys help in creating safety plans and exit strategies like we talked about earlier?
Yes, we do. That's part of the intake process. No matter what we provide to a victim survivor who comes, we always provide a safety plan. Again, recognizing that, everyone that walks through the door is not necessarily ready or able to leave an abusive relationship. We understand the dynamics, and, we are survivor driven. We will not ever tell someone what to do, even though we know it may be in their best interest to start thinking about leaving and or to leave. That may not be what's going on in their world, their reality, for varying reasons. So we make sure that when every person comes in, they are given a individualized safety plan to help prepare them, but also to protect them during that phase in which they're still in the home with an abusive partner.
That's fantastic. And I think that, I just want to add to that because we did a session on safety plans. And for those of you that are watching at home, although Dr. McCain is from Prince George's County and they deal with Prince George's County residents, you can find help with creating a safety plan in other organizations that we partner with. You can call us, you can call them. They're going to know their neighbors as well. Center for Abused Persons in Charles County, Turnaround in Baltimore. There's tons and tons of places that can help you to create a plan, which means that you're not necessarily leaving right now. But if things just get so awful, you know what your next step is going to be. You know who you're going to contact. You know who's going to pick you up. You have things in place for you, your children, your dog, your bird, your cat, whatever it is that is heavy on your heart. They'll kind of help you sort it through and find resources that are available for you. So just because we're talking to a Prince George's County resource, I don't want people that are at home to think that this is not available to you just because you don't have a family justice center in your county. So I just wanted to add that and be very clear that there's plenty of organizations that care and want to help create plans. So just that's my little asterisk on that one. Thank you for sharing that as well. I think that a lot of things that also help and kind of fall in line with the safety plan is divorce, custody, the protective order. So let me just kind of break those down first. Sometimes, you think you're going to leave or what have you. You need that protective order. Do you guys help with protective orders? Sorry, I caught you right in. I thought maybe you thought I was going to go on for another 30 seconds.
To a longer explanation. But yes, we do. And the other thing that's so unique about this Family Justice Center is that we have 6 civil legal law firms that work in this building. So absolutely, we are able to address the entire gamut of legal needs beyond family law. Protective orders, obviously that's a civil matter. Our lawyers generally go for final orders to help ensure that final order is granted and all of the pieces that are needed protections, financial support, et cetera, are all included, and which I think is so important. And I will say that because oftentimes when victims or survivors go for protective orders, they don't understand how important it is to ensure that all of the essential information is included, whatever they need, because a judge is not going to ask them, what would you like? Or I'm going to make a recommendation. I see you have a child. Do you need support for the child? Are you going to be able to pay your mortgage or your rent? They have to be very specific as to what it is that's needed or requested or desired, I should say, in that protective order. So it's always good to have representation or some form of legal advice before pursuing that. And you had asked about custody. You're on mute. You had asked about custody and divorce. Yes, we do provide that, which are very complex and sometimes very, very protracted cases. You don't get a divorce in a week. The attorneys that take on those cases are with their clients for a very long time. And largely Maryland Legal Aid is one of the partnering organizations that handles those. We also have community legal services here that takes those on. I will add, even though it's not domestic violence, we even have a law firm here, Amara Legal, that provides representation for actually defendants, women and men that have been charged for prostitution when in fact they're really being trafficked. So we offer the full gamut of legal services here. I forgot to mention that even legal aid, we have what we call an economic justice program. They provide representation for victims who have had issues with credit, consumer debt, foreclosure, things that have come about as a result of their victimization. They take on those cases. So we're fully covered from every aspect of the law here with legal services, which again are also free.
Yes, thank you so much. And yes, I think we had Amara on with us before. I think when we were talking about human trafficking.
Yeah.
For those of you at home, sometimes human trafficking is domestic violence, and domestic violence is human trafficking. And we did a special on that because I went to a session, and I'm not an advocate. I'm not an attorney. Like I this is kind of what I do. This is my thing, is just kind of building these relationships and breaking down things, developing those things. But I went to a thing, and it was one of the sessions for Victims' Rights Week. And they were talking about human trafficking. And I think, like most people, I thought that it was like moving people, like sex trade. And that's how I thought of it. But it's almost like this, the term that is used of human trafficking, you might not be moving anywhere. You might not be moving people at all. And so we have a lunch and learn on that. So if you were unaware that domestic violence could also be human trafficking, go ahead and check out that lunch and learn, because that was I feel like that was an epiphany for me, because I was like, wait, what? Yeah. And I thought, if I don't know, other people don't know. Like I literally work at a victims' rights place, so I anyway made sure to hit those questions in that lunch and learn. So if you're questioning whether that domestic violence is human trafficking, go ahead and check that out. Some of the things are financial. I think anytime, whether it be domestic violence or human trafficking, financial is always going to be an aspect whenever you move out of somewhere, make life plans. So thank you for that, and for sharing the civil side of divorce, custody, and all that. I think that that's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother aspect of why people don't leave, because of their kids, whether it be males or females or same sex, or whatever that relationship looks like. There's always concerns on what is going to happen to these dependents. And so thank you for sharing that information. Orders, did the divorce, child custody, and then Joanna will talk about Maryland crime victims and how we get involved in that. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a session that is on civil versus criminal suits for domestic violence. So there's another lunch and learn that completely explains how you can kind of go criminal on that, and what civil looks like and what criminal looks like when it comes to that. Because again, it was another thing for me that I can go put hands on Joanna and punch her in her face or something, and that's criminal. But if her husband did it, that would be civil. And I just was like, wait, what? That's not, So there's a whole session on that. So any of my confusions kind of helps like the rest of society in me just trying to break down topics. So thank you for that. I guess let's turn to falls right in line. Let's talk about the Safe at Home Address Confidentiality Program and bring in Miss Karen. Also, Ellie dropped a national network for domestic violence hotline phone number in the chat box. If you guys are on Facebook or YouTube, you can see that there. So please jot that down or grab that if you need it. And then let's bring in Miss Karen and tell us about the Safe at Home program and just what it's all about.
Okay, sure. Well, the Address Confidentiality Program is throughout the state of Maryland. And what it does is it provides for survivors of domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault, harassment to receive a free service from the Address Confidentiality Program, which is to forward their mail from their they would get a address that is confidential, and everyone would get that same address, and then their mail is forwarded to us, and we take that and we package that mail and then send it to their actual address. It as I mentioned, is throughout the state of Maryland, and there are two ways that persons could receive their address from us. One way is if they are a survivor, then they would work with one of our partners, such as Sandra has mentioned, Amara, or even the Family Justice Center, and they would work with an application assistant. And that application assistant would go through the application with them, and they would also help them provide a safety plan, and they would inform them about what the program and the benefits are. And one of the benefits, one, is to keeping their address off of the record. And then another benefit is keeping it away from the abuser. And then the application assistant would also let them know that there are going to be some drawbacks to the program. And one of the drawbacks is that there's going to be delay in their mail. We get the mail from the different, from whoever's sending them the mail, and then we package that mail. So there are going to be various steps involved in that. And because there are steps involved in that, then there is going to be some delay in their mail. And participants should know about that. The second way that participants would come to us is through our partners and through different outreach. And then they are, we hear about different persons who are interested in the program, and then we would refer them to an application assistant. So we don't directly fill out the applications for the potential participants. They have to go through one of our partners. And participation in the program is for 4 years, and it can be renewed as long as the situation still exists. And in terms of what is needed in the application, potential participants or applicants do not need to submit protective orders, or they do not need to submit medical records or any kind of police documents and police reports. Their statement that they are experiencing victimization is sufficient for us. And then once we get the application from the application assistant, then we would go through it to make sure that all of the aspects and the elements of the application have been thoroughly completed. And then we would be in direct contact with the participant and then send to them their ACP card, which is their authorization card. And we'd also send to them a notice of ACP participation and what that gives to the participants. So, for example, they would use their ACP authorization card when they are enrolling their children or enrolling themselves in school. And they would provide this card. And on the ACP authorization card is their unique ACP number as well as their address. And that address would be their substitute address. And then they would also get a notice of ACP participation form, and they would have to sign that. And anyone who actually needs their physical address, not their substitute address. So, for example, if they are having work done in their apartment, or if they have someone coming into their apartment for some reason, they would provide this notice of ACP participation form. And then that form obligates the recipient of the form to keep their address from being disclosed.
That's good to know. And so you mentioned that the people that are eligible are like domestic violence, human trafficking,
Sexual assault victims, yes. Harassment, yes.
Do they have to be victims, or can they be witnesses as well?
Well, in terms of being witnesses, so for example, persons who live with their relatives or live with their new spouses or their new partners or their children, then they would be eligible for the program.
Okay.
And we do ask that the participants not be current homeowners because we do not have the ability to shield their deeds retroactively. They would have to not be current homeowners, but they can become homeowners, and they can they have to get us involved prior to their home buying process, as well as prior to settlement, because as I said, we do not have the ability to retroactively redact that information from the deed. And similarly, we do ask that the participants let us know if they have pending court proceedings, so that we would be aware of the jurisdiction as well as the case number, because we also don't have the ability to retroactively have that removed from case history, but we would work with the court system to keep their addresses off of the case history.
Perfect. And this is statewide. This is run by the state, right?
It is statewide.
Lovely.
So real quick, would it be important, basically they have to move for this address to be kept confidential, correct?
They
It needs to be a
have
new
to
address.
either move or be moving within the next 30 days. Because what we don't want is for them to be able to be tied to the address that they are residing at. And we also don't want the abuser to have their address. It also should be an address that is off of the public record. They should not have submitted their change of address to either the Department of Motor Vehicles or to the Postal Service, because once they do that, then their address becomes public.
Okay.
And you guys can help guide them as long as they know that they need to contact you ahead of time. Then you can help guide them with like the DMV and
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. That's good information. Good information, and that's statewide. So keep that in mind if if people need it. And then I'm gonna go on to Joanna. Thank you so much, Karen.
Oh,
And
you're welcome.
if you guys want to add to our next bits of chat, please unmute and go ahead and join in. But let's hop into Maryland crime victims and how we can help with domestic violence and other resources. And then I know that Joanna, you'll hop into the mental health services since Dr. McCain mentioned the mental health that they have in-house, and we can talk about our program as well.
Yes. All right. So I will join just to jump in and say that we do partner with Safe at Home, and we do have advocates here who are the people that Karen mentioned who can work with and help submit those applications. So that is one of the groups that we do work with all across the state for people who do want to take advantage of that program. So that is one of the resources we do. But kind of what happens, I guess, in a case, if a victim calls for assistance with a case, they can either call us by phone, call us up, and they're going to get transferred to a victim advocate for the county that they're calling from, so that hopefully they can talk to that actual person they're going to be working with, so they can tell their story that one time. So we try to get you to the right person to start with. So don't tell it to the first person. The first person is going to be asking, what county, what is this, where is this case located? And they're going to try to figure that out before you start telling them your story. And so I think she's always worried. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want you to have to tell your story one time. So she's trying to get you to the right person so you can tell that story, and we get you to the right person so you can talk to that person. The other way you can do it is we do have an online application form that you can fill out, and then you will be contacted by the victim advocate for that county. In some counties, we have more than one advocate, but the advocate you'll be working with will be the one who is going to contact you. And so we start there, and they kind of assess the case, figure out, what are your needs? What are you looking for? Because everyone calls for different reasons and for different things that are going on. And are you looking for court accompaniment? Are you having particular legal issues in the case? Are you not being advised of what's going on in the case? Are you not being updated? Are you calling because now the person's already been convicted and they're not letting you do a victim impact statement and you need an attorney to file a motion, that type of thing. And so then we do have attorneys. We now have 17 attorneys that cover all the counties in Maryland. So we do file those motions and get those things covered. We also have attorneys who file appeals, and we appeal cases, and we have been able to make a lot of important case law, which is when cases above the trial courts, so the Court of Appeals and now the Maryland Supreme Court, make decisions that in fact uphold victims' rights. And we've had a couple of really important ones just this year. So we're very excited about that and the work that we do there as well. So it's a little bit about how we take in cases and what we do with them. So it very much depends on who the person is who's calling and what they need and what to do with them. But we also work with our partners. So in Prince George's County, especially when we have DV cases, we very much work a lot with the Family Justice Center. They're a great resource that we work with there. And then in the other counties where we don't have as many resources, we do know where those other groups are. So we know about Center of Abused Persons in Charles County. We know about Turnaround in Baltimore. We know.
And I was going to say, Joanna, I was going to interject that, the one thing that's really nice about both our attorneys and our advocates that are specifically for counties is that they know the resources that are available in that particular area, because it's not all the same. Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, they don't have as much. So it's really important for them to kind of know versus, Google searching, which is helpful, but it's also really nice to know that you could just pick up a phone and kind of make that contact. So
Yes, definitely. So they know their areas, they know what the resources are, where they can get people into what those people need. And so that's a great resource. One of the really cool things that we've been able to start just this year is that we've also noticed there's a huge need for mental health. And while there is some mental health available for some victims in certain, areas, and there's always just a bigger need. And so we were able to start a mental health program. We partner with Safe Harbor, which is a licensed, already large counseling program that covers most of the state of Maryland. They have physical locations as far north as Frederick. They go as far south as I think it's Waldorf, and then over to Baltimore and then the greater DC area. And then they also have telehealth available, to cover the rest of the state. And so what we've been able to do, we started our program with them at the beginning of June, and now we've referred, I know we're over 150 people have been referred to that program. And so what we do is we get people in, we cover the first 6 sessions. After that, we get insurance involved so that our dollars can go further, and we then cover the deductibles after that. And so they also will accept Medicare. So if people have Medicare, we can take that, apply that, and then cover what we need to from that. So we're able to stretch our dollars a lot further that way. So we're really excited for that program and where we're going with that. So and that's available to victims of crime for any crime. So that's been a really great program that we are excited for. So people can call our office if they are interested in that. Even if the crime occurred, a few years ago, that's okay. We have a lot of victims of, or a lot of survivors of homicide. So families of homicide survivors who are still really suffering from that loss. It's a really great loss. And we definitely want to support them. And so we have a lot of people who still need counseling for years. So please do call us if you are interested in that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to also, you kind of circled around it, but we do have our support group, our homicide support group, homicide survivors support group.
Yes.
And if you need information on that, you can find that on our website or on our social media. You can also join our newsletter, and then you'll get those reminders every month of when it is. And it's the first Tuesday of the month. So it just passed, but as the holidays approach, I definitely want to make sure that people know that resource is available for those that have suffered those kinds of losses. It is, there's a family that comes to mind. I'm pretty close with a sister. She lost her sister through domestic violence. So, we don't know what it looks like. It can be different kinds of losses, but if you find those services, needed, particularly at this time of year, as we approach the holidays, please make sure that you reach out and join us. It's every month, the first Tuesday. So just wanted to make people aware that is available.
Yes. So yes, that's one of our big groups is the homicide survivor support group. So it's been a great resource for a number of years, for decades now. So we're happy to keep that going. Yes. So that's a lot of what Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center does. We serve hundreds of victims every year. Our intake is we usually take in over 800 new cases every year. They're not all the same. Not all of them go through courts. Many of them do. But we do handle that. So we have a high volume of cases, and we try really, our goal here is to seek justice for all of our victims and to support them through that process as well. And so that's why we try to provide all of the wraparound services that we can, and partnering with all of the wonderful partners that we can out there. So we are very grateful for Denise and Karen for joining us today. So thank you.
Absolutely. And so we've got 10 minutes left. So I'm going to leave this time open for, did you ladies forget to mention something? Think really hard. We've got events coming up. I know it's DV month. So if you know of any things that are going on in your areas, things that you want us to pay attention to, conferences, sessions, what have you, please go ahead and share them. And then after that, we'll just go ahead and sign off.
Okay. Well, I will definitely go and mention our upcoming event. It's actually an event that the foundation, we also have a foundation Prince George's County Family Justice Foundation that was established largely to provide financial support. We are governmental, and as you know, we can't raise money. So this is the nonprofit arm of the Family Justice Center that enables us to do that. But we are hosting our second annual Dancing with the Stars fundraiser on October 26th. It's going to be held at Martin's Crosswinds. And it's a lot of fun. Last year we sold out. In fact, people the day of were trying to get tickets to come, but it's really, really fun. This year we have the clerk of the court, Madam Elamine Mahassan, is dancing. Trying to think of some other folks that you know. I'm not a reality TV person, but Jamie, someone from Love and Marriage DC, is going to be dancing. Another celebrity personality, Autumn Joy. We have a lieutenant from the police department, a doctor from a hospital, a person who has a charity organization for children. Just a lot of fun. But each star has to learn a 2-minute routine with a professional, just like Dancing with the Stars on television. And they perform, and they can win. They can win 3 ways. It's a fundraiser. So each star has been charged with raising $5,000. So people vote for who they want to win even before it starts. So that's how they can win, is getting who raises the most money. The day of the event, they can win by points. We'll have judges that are going to score them, just like on Dancing with the Stars, or there'll be a crowd favorite. The audience will have an opportunity to select someone. So it's a lot of fun. The tickets are $125. Dinner, open bar, everybody has a blast. So we'd love to see more people come out. We're actually getting close to selling out again, but we still have some tickets and tables left. So if anyone is interested, please reach out. FamilyJusticeCenterFoundation.org is how you can get.
And I'm sorry, did I miss? How do they win? Do the people who are watching get to vote?
Yeah, so that's one of the 3 ways. So there's a mirror ball trophy, which is for the judges, the best dance routine.
Okay.
We have 4 judges that are going to judge them on varying things: costume, performance, showmanship, all of that stuff. They can also win by what's called the crowd pleaser. We are actually able to vote electronically the day of at the event. So whoever gets the most votes for their performance, they will win a crowd pleaser award. So you have the judges, the crowd pleaser, and then there's the award for the star that raises the most money.
Okay.
That sounds so fun. I grabbed the link online and I went ahead and pasted that into the comment
Great.
section.
Thank you.
So if you guys are interested in watching these people learn this routine, it's always super fun to watch other people.
Yeah. Oh, but they go all out. I mean, they rehearse, they have costumes. They are very, very competitive. They're very competitive. So like I said, it's like a professional production, really.
Very cool. Very cool. So that is in the chat box. If you guys are interested, our gala is over, so that I'm fine with sharing that right now.
Yes, we just had it last week, so we're done.
I know. We're all set. I think there's a bunch of fun things going on right now.
A lot of things going on. I don't have all of that in front of me, but there's several conferences. I can tell you the hospital has something. I think it's on the 30th, Shattering the Silence.
It's on the 31st. It's 31st. On Halloween.
Yes, that's
on Halloween, and I'm like, gosh, you guys had to have it on Halloween. We'll see, like how that
works.
Yeah. I think that makes me nervous. But hey, if you are available, I think it's like dress to impress is what Dr. D told me, and that seems super cool. So if you want to wear a costume, or if you just want to wear a fancy dress, I mean that's neat. If that's something that you're interested in doing. But yeah, okay.
And I just wanted to say, at the Address Confidentiality Program, we're always looking to increase our pool of application assistance. So if you do work with a victim services organization, we would definitely like for you to reach out to us to become an application assistant. I do the training for the application assistance every month, the first Tuesday of the month, or I can arrange to do it separately. But as I said, we're always interested in increasing our pool so that we can reach more survivors.
Oh, fantastic. That's great info to share as well. So if you're out
Absolutely.
there and you provide resources, please consider doing that so that we can make sure that people are secure in their new places.
Yeah, we have new staff, and I will definitely make sure that we get them trained. But those that are here and have been are certified to provide to complete the application. So absolutely, we'll do that as
Okay,
well.
great. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's sign off here. Dr. Denise, do you want to start on signing off and share any info?
And you know what? I was going to say this, and I'm going to use my time to say this, that I'm really very grateful for the work that's done through Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center. Some of you may know that I was the state coordinator for victim services years and years ago, and I worked very closely with Roberta Roper, have been in Annapolis, walked those halls, and just such a fierce advocate. We are so fortunate and blessed to have someone like Roberta in the state that has spearheaded everything that, where we are today is so much I attribute to her hard work. So I'm just really happy to see the growth. The work is still going on, and say that, again, it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to say that I worked with her and to see the work that's still being done. So that's my sign off. I'm going to use it just to applaud and thank her.
Thank you
you
so
all
much.
for what you're still
and
doing.
Thanks for that. She is definitely a force to reckon with. Anyone that crosses her path knows it too. So
Yes,
we
yes, I
appreciate
do. Yes, I do. Small but mighty, right?
Karen?
I would just like to say again, thank you for inviting me to let you know about the Address Confidentiality Program. And we do really appreciate the partnerships that we do have with the service providers, because it really does help the survivors keep their addresses confidential. And it also helps keep them safe from their abusers. So we do appreciate all of the work that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Joanna.
All right. No, thank you both for joining us. It's really a privilege to be able to help survivors. And we just thank you for joining us and helping us make our job a little better, a little easier. And it would be much more difficult if we did not have partners out there throughout the state. So thank you.
Absolutely. The joining hands of nonprofit world and resource providers is quite amazing. It definitely is just a bunch of caring and passionate people. No matter which way we look at it, I mean, you've just got to be in awe of people that just want to reach out and help others, regardless of the story or background. So thank you all for doing what you do, particularly in this month that we really want to make sure that we're sharing the resources so that people can make the best decisions for them. And having the resources available really goes a long way, even if they're not ready yet. Just knowing that the resources are available helps them to make decisions that they have to make. Having those free resources is even better because they don't have to think about the financial constraints of being safe. So in this month, we ask that you share as much information as you can. It might seem like a broken record to some. To those that are in it, it might be new. So please consider sharing this if it touches you. Finding another video, finding another organization altogether. I don't really care where it comes from. Just make sure that you're sharing it and making sure that you are creating a safe space for others so that they can plan what they need to do in this month that is so extremely important. There's so many good things to raise awareness to this month. In the field that we're in, this is the one. This is the one for October. So think about sharing. You never know who you're going to help. And if you need anything, please feel free to contact any of these organizations. We will direct you to the right place for the needs that you have, regardless of whether it's in Prince George's County. I'm sure if you call them, they will send you to the right resource for the area that you're in. So again, ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next month. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye all.